Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Anna.
Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Shubhansh. Okay, children, now turn on the video. Yes, Arab, Shubhansh, and Abhinav, turn on the video.
Ma'am, Zoom says that it's not able to detect my camera.
Why? Why so?
Some random issue at random times. Can't help.
Okay. Shubhansh and Arab, turn on the video. And children, when are you going to get your results also? Moksha, what about your result? When are you going to get it?
Ma'am, October 3rd is our last exam.
Oh, okay. Arab, Shubhansh, when are you going to get your result? Shubhansh, have you got your result?
I'm not got it yet. I'll get it by like third or fourth week.
Yes, Shubhansh.
I might get it by third or fourth October.
Shub I think there is some problem from my side, I guess, the network problem. Okay, Bhaire, when are you going to get your results?
Yes, ma'am.
When are you going
Ma'am,
to get your results for your exams, half-yearly exams?
ma'am, after
When?
these holidays, ma'am, right after these holidays.
Okay, all right. Okay, okay, fine. So once you're getting your results, do let us also know what about your result, how it was. Okay. Okay.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
today we will be starting with the topic reflex arc and reflex action. Okay, very, very, very important topic for this whole chapter, because either they will be asking about the neuron structure or either they will be asking about the reflex action. So out of these two, either they will be giving you with the or in between, either they will be giving you any one.
Hello, ma'am.
Like,
Your voice is breaking.
am I audible? Yes, children, am I audible to you?
Good evening, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Yes, children, am I audible to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay, fine, fine. I don't know what is the problem going on. Again and again, I'm logging out. Okay, so reflex action or reflex arc we were talking about. So in this case, those actions which will be involuntary, they cannot be controlled by us, they come under this category. Touching of the hot object might be, pricking the needle. Sometimes all of a sudden the needle will be pricked. So that also will be done under the case of the reflex action. Now, why the everything is not reaching to the brain? So what happens, like, if the small, very minute things we are sending into the brain, then the brain will get overloaded, right? So brain will not actively in that case. So that is immediate action. I think some problem is there today with, I don't know, with my network only. Yes,
Right, turning of the camera.
again, am I audible, children?
Yes.
Okay, now I think might be if I turn off. Okay, so such kind of the action where the immediate response is needed, it is done by the spinal cord. Now, spinal cord is acting like a coordinator, and the brain is acting like a principal. Okay, so you might be aware of, like, whatever the coordinator they will be doing actually, in by informing to the principal, right? So these are informations also, though the spinal cord will be taking the information and will be responding, but such information will also be sent to the brain so as to make the brain aware that yes, this has been done actually. Fine. So that is why the reflex action is very, very important, because our brain works in a very slow manner. It's like, it's a fact actually that the brain works in a little slow manner as compared to the spinal cord. That is why if we are touching the hot object, or we are pricking the needle, or we are pricking the pin and all, the all pin and all. So in that case, immediately, lesser than a second, we are taking our hand back. It is because of the spinal cord response. If in case, like suppose for example, we don't have the spinal cord, so instead of spinal cord, if directly it is going to the brain, then definitely it could have taken, a minute or two actually to give you the result. So that is why everything which has the immediate action of the response will be under this category of the reflex action. So that is why we say that the reflex action is the simplest form of the response. So most simplest form. It does not allow any kind of thinking, right? So it's not like the brain has to work, it has to think, it has to take time, nothing like that. So that is why we say that it is the simplest form of the response in the nervous system. So if in the board exam they ask you name the simplest form of response in the nervous system, it should be the reflex action. All right. So this is actually the kind of the automatic response. So you are not doing anything automatically. The body is responding to your stimulus. And stimulus is what? The action actually. Towards your action, the body is giving you the response. And such kind of actions are basically the involuntary. So because they are not under our control. So that we will be getting, and they are called as the involuntary action. So to complete this whole process, they will be using a particular path, and that path through the reflex action is called as the reflex arc. Understood, children? Moksha, Arav, Abhinav, Shubhansh,
Yes,
Dhairya,
ma'am.
Aryan, Shayan, Rizwana.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Understood, ma'am.
So that is what it happens in the case of the reflex action. So whatever the path will be there, they will be following it, and immediate response will be there. Now, it's like some of the examples are like when we are touching the hot object, or all of us, like sometimes by mistakenly, when we are making the chapati, during that time, we touch the hot flame of that gas stove. That is also the example of it. Then sometimes, like you might have seen, if you are in the maybe darker room, and then all of a sudden, when you go out in the light area, your eyes will start blinking fast. So that is all. That is also the kind of the reflex action. Then sometimes you might have noticed, like when you eat the food, the peristalsis movement will be happening. That peristalsis movement is also the kind of the reflex action. So you are not doing anything actually. Automatically it is happening. The movement is happening there. Then the glands, whatever the glands they are producing, the chemicals, they are also what they are, the kind of the reflex action. So automatically it is happening. We are not doing anything. Then we are coughing, sneezing, vomiting, blinking. Everything is under the involuntary action control, and they comes under the uh, reflex action category. Then sometimes, like you are in the open area and the dust particle goes into your eyes, and all of a sudden then you will be taking your hand and you will start rubbing your eyes. So that is also the kind of the reflex action. So the dust particle came into your eyes, and then you have responded it by rubbing your eyes, or maybe you will be flushing that water on your eyes. So again, the example of the reflex action. So that is how it will be working. Now, for doing whole of this process, there will be some of the other kind of the nerves which are involved for the process. The first thing which is involved for this is the receptor organs. Let me share the screen. Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So here, the first one which is there are the what? They are the receptors. Fine. And receptors already we have discussed what they will be. They will be sense organs. Fine. They will be sense organ. Like different types of the receptors we have discussed: the photoreceptor, the phonoreceptor, then gustatory receptor, then thermoreceptors. So all these receptors are basically what? The receptors, which will be giving you the idea, or the sense organ will be helping you to sense it actually. So the first part is a receptor organ. And generally, on most of the cases, will be the skin, right? Because through the skin only we are getting the feeling of that, stimulus or that action. So the receptor organs, what they will be doing, they will be receiving the stimulus. So the skin, they will receive the stimulus. And once they receive the stimulus, what do they do? They will be sending the same stimulus to which part? To the sensory neuron. And sensory neuron is basically the neuron which is basically they have the feeling of the sense organ. So they will be sending it to the sensory organ, and then these sensory organs will be sending it to the next part, which is the spinal cord. So the first part are the receptor, the second are the sensory neuron. Sensory neuron will send the signals to the spinal cord. Now in the spinal cord, the whole of the kind of the process will be calculated in less than a second, and then they will be creating the response, and those response through the relay, through the motor neuron, they will be reaching actually to the effectors. And effectors are basically what? They are the muscles. So here, after the spinal cord, it will be the motor neuron, and then effectors are basically the muscles where they will be bringing the response. And because of this effector, because of this, we'll be building towards the stimulus. So here, touching of the plate or touching of that pan is a stimulus, and because of that, this effectors, they will be responding by taking the hand back. So immediately what they will be doing, they will be taking the hand back. So in a simple diagram case, this will be the diagram. So that is how actually it happens. So stimulus is there. Stimulus can be anything. First stimulus will be there. Through the receptor they will be directing, and then the receptor will be sending it to the sensory neuron. Sensory neuron will be sending to the spinal cord part. Spinal cord then in return will be sending the response to the motor neuron, and motor neuron will send that response towards the effector. And effectors are the muscles through which now they will be responding. And this whole process is called as the reflex action. Am I clear, children, how it works?
Yes, ma'am.
Others? Rizwana, Shayan, Abhinav, Aryan, Shubhansh,
Yes, ma'am.
Arav. Am I clear, children?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Aryan, Arav.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, that is about the mechanism of the reflex action, how it works. So, but why actually? The question is, why arc or the action have evolved in animals? Why in us actually? Why in the animals we do have this process? Why is it so? Why do we need it? Any idea?
Ma'am, to prevent from dangers.
Okay, I think again I was locked out. Okay. So, why actually the reflex arc is there in the animals? So earlier, like in the chimpanzees, we have evolved from the chimpanzees and the gorillas. But what happened as soon as we have evolved, then and there, the spinal cord was not actually developed. Slowly and gradually, with the time, with the years and years, this got developed. Now, why it has been developed? It is because almost like all the animals in them The thinking process of the brain is not fast, right? We know it does not work immediately, right? So that is why we say that the thinking process of the brain is not fast. And in fact, many animals have very little or no complex neuron. So either they do not have those such kind of the neuron that they have to work in a very fast way, or in case if they have a very little kind of the neuron present in them. And because of that, what happens slowly and gradually, this reflex arc process have been started evolving with the different functions and the different thought process. Fine. So after that also now immediately like after so many years also this process was happening, reflex arc was working properly, but complex neuron also started working properly, but at the same time the complex neuron also was working, the reflex arc was also working. So with the time both the things were evolved, and it's like technology. If you have two things, if you go for the traditional way and if you go for the modern way, so slowly and gradually what is happening, everybody is shifting from traditional to modern. Same way in the earlier time the complex neuron were not present, right? Either they were present or they were present in a very less number. So slowly and gradually, though they started increasing in numbers, but what happened when they were not available in the humans during that time, the reflex arcs started evolving at a faster rate. Now, maybe here they have evolved 100%. They have evolved 100%. But at the same time, the complex neuron also started working. But what happened? The reflex arc, since they evolved at a faster rate, now what we are doing, rather than using the complex neuron in our body, we are following the reflex arc itself because it is simple and the easy way, which gives you the fast response. So that is how it happens. See, as a human lifestyle, we are changing, right? Day by day, we are changing. Same way, our brain also have a several methodology, and according to the need, they have evolved themselves. Right? So that is why we can say that it is the need of the hour. Because of that, because of the reflex arc and a reflex action, it will be done. Fine, children. This question is very important, that why reflex arc have evolved in animals. What was the need actually? Why it was done? Am I clear, children, with this?
Yes, ma'am.
Others?
Yes, ma'am.
Rizwana, Shayan, Shubhansh?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let us write first of all this answer and then we'll go back to the definition of the reflex section. So reflex arcs have evolved in animals because the thinking because the thinking process of the brain is not fast. So what happened? The thinking process of the brain is not fast enough. And in fact, in many animals, the complex neuron are in many animals have very little or no complex neurons network are there. Neurons network are there. And because of which, what happened? So it is quite likely that reflex arcs have evolved. So since that complex neuron was not there, this reflex arc have started working in the efficient ways of functioning. Ways in the absence of true thought process. So when they do not had anyone, so during that time also they were working on it. So however, complex neurons networks have come into existence. So these complex neurons, they came into existence, but in spite of coming of this neurons, the reflex arcs, they continue to be more efficient. So it is like, 2G, 3G, 4G, and 5G. So as like, development is happening in the technology, but at the same time, some of the people are I'll share the screen again. Okay, can you see the screen, children? So start writing this page. Shubhansh done. Aryan, Abhinav. Aryan, are you there, Aryan, today?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Writing then?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Rizwana there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. So write this paragraph and children, see whatever we are writing, it's very important because then and there they are asking these kind of the questions in the board exam. The only thing is they will be twisting a little with the same question. Question form is same, but a little twist will be there. So if you understand them in your own words, in your own understanding, then easily you can write them. So since the brain does not work appropriately with a fast speed and all, then what happened? The complex neuron were not working because of that. And due to insufficient complex neuron, ultimately reflex arc had to work, right? And later on, when the time was there, time was gone. So during that time also, what happened? Though the complex neuron started working, but the reflex actions become more effective rather than the complex neuron. And that's the reason that they have evolved in animals. Evolved means to make something better actually in this case. Like 2G, 3G, 4G, and 5G, right? 5G is much better, much, much better. Same way, how the reflex arc have been evolved. So earlier they were not so actually quick, but now they are very quick in response. Done, children, with this page?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
This diagrams, you can do it later. Write this part now. Done, children? Yes, Aaron, Abhinav, Dhairya, Moksha, Rizwana, Shayan, Shubhansh, done?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Why children so silent today? Why so silent? Is everything all right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and children, are you available tomorrow in the morning, like somewhere 11 or 11:15?
Yes, ma'am.
Aaron is saying yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Abhinav said yes. Dhairya, Moksha, what about you?
Ma'am, I won't be there tomorrow, ma'am.
Ma'am, can you repeat
For the
again?
morning and the evening, both, or only tomorrow morning at 11, are you available for the class?
Ma'am, which class will you keep?
Okay, ma'am.
I'll keep bio class only, children.
Like which chapter?
Same chapter, the content coordination. I'll be moving forward. The reason is why, like, most probably today is what? Today's first, right? So somewhere 15th onwards, I will be, on leave for some days. So that is why, to compensate that class, I'm thinking to take the class tomorrow itself.
Okay, ma'am, I will be available.
Ma'am, how many
Aaron, how many?
time, like minutes?
Same 40 minutes.
Okay, ma'am.
Fine. So one class I'll take. I will not be available for two classes. Okay, one Tuesday and one Thursday. For that 1 week, I will not be available. So two classes I need to compensate actually. For that, one class I'll take tomorrow, and one class, let me see if I can take, in the next week, coming week.
Okay, ma'am.
Shubhansh, you are available tomorrow at 11?
Most probably, yes, ma'am.
please do available, children, because I will not be there again. I'm repeating my words. I will not be there for a week time. Then later on, I should not get anything like, those classes were not done. So I'm doing the classes before itself rather than doing it later. Okay, because I know I have the plans. I have to go somewhere. Fine. So that's the reason I'm planning it before. So you also be available. And there in the evening tomorrow, are you there?
Ma'am, I'm actually going like outside for 6 days, so these 6 days I'm not available.
Okay, all right, fine. Then that is actually different case in that case. Okay,
Fine.
and just do ask your father or mother to drop this message also that for 6 days you are not available. All right.
Okay, ma'am, sure.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you. And who has not answered the same thing? Shayan, you are there tomorrow in the morning?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Shayan. Rizwana, tomorrow in the morning at 11?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So let's fix then tomorrow in the morning. 11 o'clock we'll have one class, and the next class next week I'll try to compensate maybe, during your the share time and all. So during that time I'll be compensating.
Thank
And
you.
if in case no, just 1 minute, and if in case like you feel like any doubts you have or any kind of the topic you wanted to do it again, do let me know. Okay, so that we can do the topic also. Maybe one more class I can keep for that. Okay.
Ma'am,
Yeah, Moksha.
I will be not available at 3, 4, 5 dates, ma'am, in October.
3rd, 4th, and 5th October. These 3 days.
Yes, ma'am. I'm going on a dance competition by school side.
Okay, 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 fine. Just drop me a message also, okay? There on the WhatsApp.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, okay, fine. And all the very best for you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, children, then we'll be meeting you tomorrow at 11. And we'll be going ahead with the next topic then. And we will be starting with the topic which is about the human nervous system, basically about the central nervous system, peripheral nervous system, and autonomic nervous system. So three nervous system we have: central nervous system, peripheral nervous system, and autonomic nervous system. So with the brain part, structure of brain, we will be starting. So don't miss that class, okay? Tomorrow, don't miss the class. We will be starting that topic. And when we talk about the brain structure, you should know about the parts and you should know about their function also. So how, like, what are the different parts and their functions? How do they perform? What do they perform? And what do they do? And also, then, if the time permits, then we will be learning about the layers which are present in the brain, which are called as the meninges, and the fluid also, which is there in the brain, which protects from the shock. All right, children?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, okay, children. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye, ma'am.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye, ma'am.
Thank you.